Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Divine Providence. This is season 2, episode 23, and the first of the Bryan Hodgson era in Providence. We spent the majority or almost all of the last episode talking about a potential move for Bryan Hodgson to come here, and it ended up coming to fruition, a W that we greatly needed. Mac, how are you feeling today on this beautiful day in Friartown?
The hairs on my arms have not sat down since about 9 a.m. this morning. Like you said, it was a much needed W for Friartown. We're starting a new era, the Hodgson era. Um, and with the shit that this fan base and this city and program have had to deal with the last 3-4 years, yeah, it feels good to bring in a guy who's seemingly just like culture fit, proven winner, and it's an exciting time to be a Friar fan.
It is going to be a scary summer at the beaches of Rhode Island because there are shark infested waters, people. Look out. Look out for the fin. You never know when it's coming, okay? Like you said, we needed a W. We got one today. It is a beautiful day to be a Friar. It is a beautiful day in Friartown. It's been a tough couple seasons, and we've walked out of that building with our heads down, but today, our heads are held high in Friartown. I'm feeling good, boys.
Yeah, and it feels really good. I mean, even if you think back to after we were done recording last episode when we talked about Hodgson and we just unloaded the tank with Hodgson content, and the sentiment after was like, hey, let's get this episode out as fast as possible because we're so snake bitten and nothing has gone right that we honestly thought there was a possibility that from the time that we recorded to the time that we would release the episode that we would lose him to Syracuse. Ends up he turns down Syracuse, who we battled with for years in the same conference, and then they closed the deal with him. I mean, they say maybe it was done, whatever, Saturday. It doesn't matter, but that's just kind of how snake bitten we've been over the last 2 years, 3 years, and it just feels really good to not, for once, have people pulling receipts and us kind of be on the other side of that. Now we're the ones pulling receipts. Everyone that doubted us, they're eating their words right now.
And you mentioned the Syracuse comparison. Obviously, it was down to PC and Syracuse for who Hodgson would be coaching next year. And I feel like this has got to cement uh, PC as a better job than Syracuse. And as a PC fan, like most of us are going to say, like, yeah, well, no shit. But I think the national sentiment for a while has been like, oh well, PC's been a bottom dweller in the Big East, and um, it's a small school in Rhode Island. Like it doesn't register with the common fan. I feel like that PC is a very competitive, probably without argument, top 40 job in the country. And you bring in a guy like Bryan Hodgson who grew up in around Syracuse, upstate New York area, and turned down what's essentially his hometown team for PC, who's got state of the art facilities, rabid fan base. I think the number was upwards of 10 million in NIL. So I mean, it's a place where the infrastructure is built for someone to win, and now we got someone who's in there who has proven he can win games.
And clearly, a lot of these Syracuse fans, just haven't been paying attention to college basketball for the last few years and being like, Providence, what are you talking about? It's like, where have you been, guys? Clearly, you haven't been paying attention to college hoops if you're going to sit here and say that there's no chance a guy like Bryan Hodgson will come to Providence. And a lot of the USF fans, same thing. They haven't been as bad as the Syracuse fans were when all this news started coming out. And then the other thing is, you got to give it to Steve Knapp. He took a lot of crap this year from a lot of fans on Twitter and you name it, but he came ready to play once Kim was fired, and he got this thing rolling. And shout out to anybody else at the school who got this thing to the finish line. Shout out to the donors that got the money to get Bryan Hodgson over here. That's not easy getting, everybody wanted Bryan Hodgson if you had a coaching vacancy. And PC said, hey, we got the money, we got the fan base, we have the facilities. We are ready to pop over here. So shout out to Knapp and everybody over at Providence College who got this thing done.
No, definitely. I'm glad you brought up Knapp because I think that obviously there was some decision toward the end of the year if they should fire Kim or if they shouldn't fire Kim. And I think that the athletic department probably looked at it from a standpoint of seeing if maybe if they did fire Kim, if they were going to be a top 3 or 4 available job, right? And if they felt like that was the case, then there's going to be, 4 or 5 good coaches out there that you could go out and get. And I think that this was kind of a masterclass from the jump. You fired Kim, you secured those funds to buy him out. You knew you were going to be a top maybe 3-4 job on the open market. You ended up getting, I would say, probably maybe a top 2 or 3 most sought after coach on the open market. I think him and Calhoun were probably a toss up, but you have to give a lot of credit to Knapp. Obviously, it's been like you said, really tough year, and the athletic department really came through. And I think the fan base is really excited about this, and it's going to be a really fun era in Providence college basketball.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank. Dude, listen, shout out to Knapp, shout out to the donors, shout out to everyone who got this across the finish line. Knapp did a press conference, I believe, like the day after we released our last episode, and was just kind of describing the guy that they wanted to lead the charge for this team. It was Bryan Hodgson to a T. You could tell like he was at the top of whatever big board they might have had. Talking about a guy who's proven to win games, has built a program, been successful, can galvanize a community. I think that was the exact wording that Knapp used. And Bryan Hodgson seems like that guy, man. Like he's a dude you want to run through a wall for.
He seems like the perfect fit. He really does. Blue collar, hard nosed guy. The quote he said about he'll what was it? He'll fight any coach that tries to poach any of his players.
Yeah.
Like, is that not Providence College to a T?
Yeah.
And, we give shout outs to Knapp in the athletic department, but shout out to the fan base, because if the fan base wasn't as rabid as they are, something like this doesn't happen. It really doesn't. Okay. Yeah. And the national, people who really pay attention to college basketball knows how much this fan base cares about their team. And I'm not going to sit here and say, we demand greatness, but when the team isn't doing well, the fan base makes it known. And sometimes the athletic department doesn't have a choice but to move on from somebody like him. If you were somewhere else, they'd be like, okay, maybe we can stretch this out for another year, save some money. But it's like, no, like we're going to start losing season ticket holders. We're going to start losing out on money on merch. Like we have to make a move here. And that's because this fan base cares so much and they make it known, especially with the PCBC, which everybody knows is just insane, but it makes a difference.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was going to say. After Mac was I'm tired of pretending that personality doesn't matter, like when going after a coach. Yeah, sure, conventional wisdom will say, let's just get a guy that can win games. But at the end of the day, the foundation that you build and the ability to connect with the fans and the community will drive donations, will drive, NIL, will increase ticket sales. These are all important factors that go into building a program. This isn't the NBA. Like you need someone that can connect with the fans and that can assimilate to our culture surrounding this basketball program, which we've all done really well in helping to build. So I think that's a home run. Obviously, he's proven himself on the court. Still has a relatively small body of work as a head coach, but you factor in the recruiting stuff at Alabama and just how good his team was this year. I think it's a home run. It's an A+. And I don't see how you could go wrong with a guy like that.
Yeah, but the culture fit, I think, is a real thing. We saw it with, I guess now we're 2 coaches removed from or 2 tenures removed from Cooley.
Yeah.
But he was the definition of culture fit. He spoke the language of, the fan base, and he knew how to get them going and make them feel like they were a part of something. And, that's big when you're building a program, especially if you want a home court advantage like we've seen the Dunk be in the past. That's how you get the passion from these fans, is hiring a good culture fit. But obviously X's and O's, recruiting, the basketball stuff is also there with Hodgson. But culture fit. This is a guy I'm ready to die for the guy. He's been the head coach for 6 hours. So
And, when this guy's going to go out and try to recruit guys and get guys from the transfer portal, he has experience with sending players to the NBA or coaching players who went to the NBA. He's coached 12 players that have gone to the association, including 4 first-round draft picks, including Brandon Miller, who was drafted number 2 overall. So that's definitely a great thing for him to bring to the table. And then we'll just look at his coaching history really quick here. Been to a bunch of different places, but he started in 2007 as the assistant coach at Fredonia State University. Then he was the assistant coach at Jamestown Community College, 2010 to 13. Volunteer assistant at Midland College. He was an assistant there. Then he went to Buffalo. He was with Nate Oats. Then he went to Alabama, also with Nate Oats. 23 to 25, he was the Arkansas State University head coach. And then 25, he started at South Florida. And now the head coach of the Providence College Friars. So he's still young, but he's been around the block and he's got some good experience.
And you mentioned the Nate Oats thing. He obviously comes from the Nate Oats tree. A lot of stuff I've been seeing, as arguments against Hodgson is that it's a similar style of offense to what Kim ran. And I feel like it's easy to be a little jaded from the NBA style, fast paced Chuck Threes offense, but it works. Like, listen, man, sue me, but I'll bring up Alabama here. Alabama's playing today with a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line. He comes from the Nate Oats tree. He runs the Nate Oats offense. It works when you have a coach who can implement that style of play. It's not like any coach who runs that offense is just going to be Kim English 2.0. I get that some people can be a little jaded by it, but, if done correctly, it works. There's a reason why dozens of coaches around the country try to mimic it.
And at the end of the day, we do have to remember that, the offense was pretty good this year. Like, let's not glaze over that fact. Kim has his problems, but one thing you got to give him credit for is our offense 2 years ago was terrible. This year it was a top 30 offense in the country. I think where Kim's downfall came was turning offense or turning defense into offense, which never really happened, and getting after it on the defensive end. And I think that sometimes people get sick of these, nuanced words like toughness and grittiness, but it's absolutely a factor. And Kim's teams were, talented, especially last year. Or this year more so. We'll call it this year, right? They were talented, but just lacking that edge, lacking that toughness, lacking that grittiness, which you need in the Big East. Like, let's be honest, it's the Big East. It's a tough league.
Hey, Kevin Farrar had a great article this morning on his Substack, Friar Basketball. So shout out to Kevin. And he was talking about how both teams, USF and Providence, started off the season 4-4. And they were very similar teams, kind of like what we're talking about right now. They were both shooting at a really high clip, but they both were playing horrendous defense. That never improved for us. And we talked about that. We never saw improvements on the defensive end. Hodgson put a stop to that. And then after that 4-4 skid playing some bad defense, they took a significant step forward. And then in the month of December, when they started to get back on the right track, they ranked 7th in the country in defensive rating, 12th in blocks, and 1st in steals in the month of December in the country. So they made changes. And then the rest of the season, they went on a crazy run. You see their record. And they ended up playing good defense. They dug in and made adjustments. We never saw that in the Kim English era, unfortunately. And hopefully it looks like that will change. We're going to shoot at a high clip, and they're going to play good defense, and they rebound the ball very well.
You have to have a guy that will make adjustments. And, you can't fall asleep, and you can't have an ego in this. Making adjustments is what it's all about. Just like on Divine Providence. We had a little bit of an echo, right? We addressed the issue. Now Mike's got headphones on, and now we're ready to win the ball.
It's not adjustment.
It's all.
So I was going back and forth with a Alabama fan when it was rumored that Hodgson was coming to Providence, and this guy talked about the not being afraid to mix things up. He said Some similar styles of Nate Oats, of course, but not afraid to mix strategies. Players loved him. So I mean, this guy's willing to change on the fly. You know, I keep going back to the offseason interview, the Zoom call that Knapp and Kim did, and Kim talked about, you know, if something's not working, do we have to double down on it or do we have to change it completely? Like, do we have to just double down and do it better, or change what we're doing? And I don't think Kim ever changed what they were doing. Like, very rarely did you see him say, "All right, this isn't working." It was more so like, we're gonna try and just will our way into this style of play working. And you know, if Hodgson's a guy who's willing to mix it up, you know, I think the Louisville game, they were going in and out of zone. You know, obviously they were losing, but you know, a guy who's not afraid to mix things up and is not stubborn, I guess. You know, not set in their ways of like, this is how we're going to do it. So,
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm so excited about Hodgson coming here is because I like his style of play and how they do take a lot of threes. So they took nearly 29 threes a night despite only hitting 32% of them on the season. That's fine. And I want him to bring some of his players here. But we have a much higher NIL budget. So hopefully we can bring in better 3-point shooting. And that clip and that percentage is going to go up a lot more this year and play to the style of basketball that he wants to play. And then you know he's going to be able to get his, because the offensive rebounding and the defense, that's just want and will and just being gritty and believing in your coach and whatever he tells you. His shooting, for the most part, is going to come from talent, from talented guys that can put the ball in the hole. We're going to get that with the NIL money and getting these players in here. But I know with him, doesn't matter who it is, he's going to make clearly they were top of the country in offensive rebounding at one point this year. His guys are going to be tough, and this is the perfect conference for him to do that.
well said. You mentioned the NIL money. Obviously, this you know, Hodgson steps into a situation where he's probably got the most money to play with that he's ever basically seen in his career, whether as a head coach or an assistant. If you guys were Bryan Hodgson, what's your first order of business? How are you writing that first check when you start building out the roster?
Well, I mean, I certainly think you probably have to have a conversation with the guy who helped you win a conference championship, Wes Enos. It's Enos, right? Or is it Enos?
They were saying Enos on the broadcast.
You were,
Yeah,
right.
Enos.
But I thought, you know, I would think Ennis, but that makes sense. So I think you got to have a conversation with him. He might want to test the waters, you know, which is totally, no pun intended, shark, you know, whatever. But totally reasonable for him to do that. But I think if you can get him, and then maybe if you bring Jameer and Mila, that's a phenomenal, you know, foundation. But then after that, you got to fill out with shooters, you know, wing shooters. Maybe, you know, you have a conversation with Harrell about like a kind of a prove it spot where you just like all just reward. Like there's no like commitment to Harrell. It's just all reward, you know, ceiling, whatever he can shoot. And then go from there. You know, I mean, we'll see. I think he's going to have a really good transfer portal.
Mike, what about you?
I mean, I have to look at who's going to be out there, who's available. I would love to have Jameer back. You know, Male is a hard-nosed player. I would love to have him back. People are talking about Oswin returning, which I wouldn't mind, but we're going to have to see some improvements on the offensive end. I mean, we know he can block shots with the best of them, but we're going to have to see some improvement rebounding the ball and putting the ball in the hole, which, you know, there's always room for improvement. I would love to have Oswin back. And I also, the big man on USF, I think he was a senior. I don't know if he has an extra year of eligibility left. What's his name? I liked watching him the other day against Louisville.
Isaiah Nelson.
Yeah, I thought he was he was a badass.
Yeah, I literally had to pull up the roster watching the game to see if he had eligibility.
Yeah,
but I think he's a senior.
And there's no extra year left for him.
Not that I could tell. It looked like he played 4 full seasons. Okay. But I think first order of business, yeah, like you said, Leb, I think that kid Wes Enos, give him a pay bump. Obviously, you got more NIL money to work with. Say, hey, come with me. You're going to be playing on national TV every night. Get a little pay bump. He's your star player. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. And then, listen, man, you lock Jameer Jones in a room and make him tell you no. Like, genuinely, like the sky's the limit for that kid. We've talked about it all year. But again, that's maybe he doesn't fit what Hodgson wants to run. So, but I would love to see Jameer here, and him and Hodgson are holding up the Big East championship trophy in next March. But yeah, I think those are the first 2 orders of business.
I think Jameer fits really well, and I think that he just needs a little more, discipline, right? And I think that this guy is kind of the guy to do it. I mean, he's a tough, daunting figure, and I think that he's going to have good control over the players and get guys to buy in.
Yeah, I think Jameer is the perfect player for the style that Hodgson wants to bring here. And he already was taking over games as a very, very unpolished freshman. You saw him at times, and you kind of wanted to rip your hair out. He'd drive to the basket, no numbers. There'd be 3-on-1, go to the basket. Some plays where you kind of left scratching your head. But he's a freshman, and he was very raw last year. A little bit more development from this kid. He's going to be one of the best players in the Big East.
Definitely, well said.
We talked about culture. We talked about Hodgson's defense. We talked about Jameer. I do think Jameer, now that we're talking through it, would be a fantastic fit because Hodgson is such a blue collar, tough nosed guy. Did we talk about the blue collar point system that USF?
Oh yeah,
has
no, we didn't. But
last
I
episode?
love that.
Yeah, I don't
very
think we talked
takes pride in those hustle plays, hard plays, and Jameer is that. Like, we talked about it during the season. Like, Jameer Jones, like, on ball defense looks like shades of Devin Carter, and Jameer Jones is like 18. So, you put him in a system with a guy who prioritizes defense, prioritizes tough hustle plays. Like, I feel like Jameer Jones would thrive in that situation.
Yeah. Also, just to go back on a little bit more bio and background for Hodgson, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but if you don't, Hodgson, he was placed in foster care as an infant, and he was adopted at age 2. Those were the parents who adopted him were the parents that they interviewed during the Louisville game. Seems like a great family. His brother was there as well. Hodgson, to this day, he mentors children through the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America, and he is also the founder and president of Coaching Love, Inc., which raises awareness for at-risk youth, particularly those in foster care systems or waited to be adopted through basketball and other sports. So he's still very involved, and I'm sure he's going to get involved in the community and in Providence as well. It really just does seem like a match made in heaven.
See,
No,
and
I agree.
And I love this. This is a guy who, he comes from very humble beginnings. He's not, born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And, I think that the fan base, right, is kind of split in two. It's you have a lot of wealth in the fan base, which is phenomenal. And, a lot of great people, a lot of hardworking people. But then you have the other side of the fan base, which is maybe a little more like, coming from a humble beginning and, maybe not as affluent. And I think that he's going to connect with both really well, but more so maybe the local community. And that's exciting. You got a guy just like Ed Cooley did. I mean, you got to give Ed Cooley credit. He was not a very rich kid growing up. But yeah, I think that just overall personality and culture fit is a 10 out of 10.
My question for you. So say you meet Bryan Hodgson at the presser that's coming up on Tuesday, and he comes up to me, he goes, "Hey man, I'm not from here, but give me a couple recommendations in Rhode Island. Where would you send him for his first meal?"
Well, I'd have to get to know him a little bit. I would ask him if he likes Italian food, and if he said absolutely yes, 100%, then that's going to open up a lot of doors.
Yeah.
If he said no, then we might be, scraping a little bit. But if he said yes, then I'm probably saying, I mean, there's so many different places on the Hill or Cranston, Cafe Eatery, Trattoria Romana, but then you got the Hill. Any of those places are all good. Casarinos, whatever, Andino's. If he said no, then I'm saying, I'm telling him like, all right, like Hemingway's, seafood.
Very nice.
Those are all good. Those are all great spots. So it really just depends on him,
If he says he likes Italian food, you just point in any
Yeah.
direction, and it's just like,
Yeah, exactly.
go here. You know what I mean? You just point. I would tell him, Hodge, coach, wait till the weather warms up. You're gonna love Newport, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting by the water, man. We're gonna be best friends, me and this guy. I could just picture us hanging out in Newport.
At the landing.
See it now. Clear. He will friggin' love Newport. He'll love Narragansett. Hodge, I can't wait till you step foot in Providence, brother.
That's the content I need from the school. Is like, I would love to see him, like, if they follow him around for a day, if he like checks out Newport for the first time, and I need him looking back at the camera being like, this is home now, man. Like, I love this place. But if the one place I would send him to would be like, this is a blue collar meal. I say, let's go get some wieners all the way over at New York System. Let's get a couple coffee. Let's get a couple coffee milks. They're serving some booze there now too. I heard they got their liquor license. Let's get a few all the way and go to New York System.
I feel like I've seen him in there, like at 3:30 after a long night. Like dude, honestly, I think he probably would eat us under the table. Like, he's a big dude, man. Like, not even like fat, he's just big. Like, he's just a big fucking like figure.
It might have been me. A lot of people are saying we look alike.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
that has been.
You got the hat on right now, so you can't really tell. But if you took the hat off, you guys do look similar. Definitely, you got the eyebrow thing, and yeah,
I'll take it.
Sure.
Mike Hodgson.
Yeah. Also, shout out to anyone who has bought a Hodgson era shirt from divineprov.com, powered by the great people over at Sully's. But if you haven't yet, we are selling the Hodgson era shirts. Great design by Corey Brinson, who does all of our designing for Section 10, and just the great people I've got to know over at Sully's brand, working with them for the Section 10 merch. They've helped us out tremendously. The site looks awesome. Shout out to Colby. He helped us out get that site going. So go over there, support the podcast, and we are going to be taking some of the proceeds and donating to the Providence College NIL, the Friar Family Collective. So if you haven't bought a shirt yet, pop over there, divineprov.com.
Yeah, these shirts are dope, man. The backs of the shirts, with the outline of his facial features, with the eyebrows and the beard, they're a home run, man. They're so sick. And I used to get Sully's tees like for Christmas when I was a kid, like 10 years old. It's just, now we got some of our own on there. It's awesome, man. It's a dream come true for sure.
Mike, shout out to you for getting this whole thing across the finish line. Obviously, you've been working with Corey and the people over at Sully's. So, shout out to you for being kind of the muscles behind the operation. And, hopefully, throughout the summer, we can come out with some cool stuff, maybe not even necessarily PC basketball related, but, we'll, obviously make our contribution to the NIL fund, and hopefully people can enjoy what we put out.
Yeah, we were brainstorming some. We got some ideas. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but before we got on the show here, we were brainstorming some cool stuff that I think we can pull off. So we'll see, and even just like Divine merch. Like, Divine is like it's a cool word. Like, I want to do hats with just Divine on it. I would love to do like the college, crew neck font, and it just says Divine with like our Friar logo. So we'll see. We have a ton of options, but this is our first shirt. If you want, we haven't announced it yet. The Divine Providence Podcast black t-shirt is on there already, so you can buy that if you want. But we haven't, formally announced that yet. So there are 2 t-shirts on there. So you could go get a Divine shirt if you want as well. But we'll make an official announcement for that at some point coming up. But we wanted to make sure to get these Hodgson shirts across the finish line when the announcement happened, and we did, and we're excited about it.
Definitely.
Avid said he was excited to rock his Divine Providence logo shirt out to Newport or East Greenwich and go chase some tail with it on.
Hell yeah!
Thinks it would help his odds. With the logo.
You going to be ripping Newport with Haji or what?
Yeah, dude, I'm down. I think me and him would be boys. Like Max said, I
Yeah.
could see myself getting along with him.
I think
He-
so
I'm ready
too.
to die for this guy. Ready to die for this guy.
He seems like a Pelham guy.
You know what he seems like? A celery guy.
Come on, bro.
Oh.
Tell it the
And
story,
that's
bro.
just the
Just get it out the
perfect
way,
segue
man.
here for maybe one of the funniest moments I've experienced in recent memory. Should we tell the story?
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
I think we have to tell the story 100%.
we so when we did the in-person podcast at my house, what was that, last Sunday? Yeah, last Sunday.
Yeah.
We
Week
did the
ago.
pod. We're all fired up after. We're like, well, we got the whole day ahead of us. Like, what should we do? And we're like, well, let's get food. Perfect. We'll watch some more of the conference tournament games. So we're hanging out and we're like, let's do 99. They get the Gold Fever wings. And Mac was like, I'll get it. So like, shout out to Mac, paid for the meal. That was outstanding. So shout out to Mac for that. And we got like a family style order of a ton of Gold Fever wings and French fries. Like it said it could feed like 7 people. So Mac
And a salad.
and a salad. So,
and ranch. There was sauces.
And
It was a
ranch.
whole caboodle. Like, you know.
whole thing.
Platter.
A platter.
Full platter of food.
Platter of food.
Yeah.
So Avid was like, I'll go pick it up. I'm like, all right, great. Avid goes and picks it up. Took a while. I'm like, oh, where is this kid? All right. He finally gets back and he comes in. He's got one tiny little plastic bag. I go, what is that? And he walks in. He goes, this isn't that heavy. And we're like, yeah, what is that? He opens up the bag that he brought from 99. It's just celery. No wings, no fries, just celery and some napkins and forks and knives.
No. Mind you, it's 3 celery stalks cut in halves. So it's 6 pieces of celery, which on the spectrum of weight, right? If you thought about how much that weighs, 3 celery stalks cut in half, it's like minute. It doesn't even weigh anything. It's not even measurable. It might not even register on a scale. We ordered a platter of chicken wings, and fries, ranch, and salad. All this food, which, by the way, Mike went and got it. He was like, all right, I'll go back. He came back with a huge box. Avid came back with just a small bag of celery.
He was like, I don't think they got our order right. This is light. He never looked in the bag.
He's like, this is what they gave me. Like, and I told the story to my girlfriend after, and she said, I bet that the person who, was handing out the orders was an attractive girl. And I asked Avid in the chat later, I was like, can I ask you, like, was the girl pretty? And he was like, yeah, she was bad, bro. Like, and so we cracked the code. Like, he was just nervous. He was just nervous. He was like, yeah, there was also like 5 bad bitches in there, like waiting for a table. I'm like, dude, Megan called it. She was like, I guarantee you she was pretty. And I asked him in the chat. And he said yes.
Just panicked. Stadium pulse on 1,000,000.
All right, so I walk in and I'm like, hey, I'm picking up an order for Kyle. And she goes, all right. So there's like a couple things on the wall, and she looks at the box and walks right by it. And then she goes, looks at another thing and hands me it. She goes, all right, here you go. Have a good day, Kyle. All right. And so I thought the other one wasn't for us because she walked right by it. And then she handed me the one thing, said, all right, Kyle, have a good day.
I think
it's not Kyle. Mac's name is Kyle. I did not just
I think the weight of it is the biggest
question. I messed up, man. I like, fuck, bro. I've been apologizing for 7 days. Fuck, I know. I should have looked at the fucking bag. I should have looked in the bag. I should have known the weight was off. I understand. I'm sorry. This is big content for the pod. But, sorry. I apologize. She was attractive. There was a group of blondes waiting for a table, coming from the Southie parade that day. Just everything just lined up, just not in my favor.
He felt bad. He did feel really bad, which made me feel bad. And I was like, it's okay, Avid. Like, I'll go and get it. We'll figure this thing out. And mind you, it's not that. So I live in, I'm not gonna say where I live, but Quincy's big. So where this 99 is, it's like on the complete opposite side of Quincy. It's nowhere near
Yeah,
me.
it was like a 20
So
minute
it takes
ride
like
one
20
way.
minutes to get there. So it's like a 40 burger round trip. And the boys were starving, and we had 2 40 burgers from Avid and me to go get this food.
Yo, I was just cracking up the whole time. I didn't even say a word. I was just dying laughing, like sitting in the chair, whatever. But Mac was genuinely like trying to bite his tongue. Like Mac was genuinely pissed. Like he was like, and I think Mac and Avid have like an unbelievably good relationship. So that's probably why he held back a little bit, you know. But like, I was just like, all right, this is just unbelievably hilarious. And I was just roasting him. But like, Mac was like, if I say anything right now, I think that I'm gonna lose control.
See, because my thing, I don't get very mad. Like I will hold it in for as long as humanly possible. I also was like so hangry. What it was yeah, I hadn't eaten since like the day before. It had been like well over 24 hours since I'd eaten because I didn't eat when we showed up to record or whatever. And my stomach is just screaming at me. And I got my hopes so high. I'm like, oh, finally, I just get to stuff my face with these, whatever they are, golden fever rings.
Oh, yeah.
Avid's going to get back. It's going to be glorious. We're going to watch the selection show. We're going to be hanging out. It's going to be a good time. And he shows up with a meal prep container and 5 sets of utensils.
There is nothing worse than like when you're revved up to eat and like you're wicked hungry and you think the food's coming and then you're like, oh, like I'm still a good hour away from eating.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that was
Sorry, Mac.
no, yeah. I think now that we milked some content out of it, Avid, I can turn the page, and I appreciate the hand up, live on air.
Appreciate you.
It took me a good 24 hours to get over it. You know, I was we're okay now, you know.
Matt called 99. He was like, yeah, you guys forgot all of our wings. He was like, dude, they're sitting right here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Matt was like, well, could someone like bring it? And they were like,
no, we don't deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think you guys gave us the right order. They were like, oh, you walked out. And they were saying I walked out. I was like, I wasn't there. I just look up at Avid. I'm on the phone. I look up. I go,
dude, he was just grilling me the whole time. He's on the phone. I'm just like standing there, like eating the celery. And Mac just fucking grilling me. Just on the phone. He's like, "Oh, you guys can't deliver? Okay."
Just gnawing on a celery stalk in the corner.
oh,
yeah. No, for real. This dude Avid was blinded by green. He walked in, he saw 5 girls in green from the St. Patty's Day parade, and he was just, it was it. He just grabbed the nearest bag of celery and just walked out.
He got the yips.
Yep.
Hashtag Avid got the yips.
Outstanding.
Oh, man. Good times.
Jesus.
Good times.
We're going to have to get a post-game meal on Tuesday maybe now if we're all co together for the press conference.
For sure.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in. That brings up a good point. So for anyone that's out there, that wants to attend, it looks like it's open to the public as of right now. I mean, I don't know unless they get like so many signups, attendees, then I think that's probably the case. So if you're there, say what up if you're going.
Well said.
Well said.
Well said. I'm excited. This is first. I think did either of you guys go to Kim English's introductory press conference?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm ready to run through a wall, and I hope the version of me that walks into the amp on game day doesn't walk into Alumni Hall for like a very probably like wholesome professional setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
this
ready
is the
to
most
sling beers and scream.
Yeah. Right. This is the most professional it's going to get with, us and Hodgson probably. The rest is going to be just chill guy, fun vibes. Maybe we'll get Hodgson on the old pod. Maybe we'll get Rico. I know him and Rico are good boys. You get them good friends, and Max and Nichols guy. So
well said.
Also, going back to the USF Louisville game, they were getting cranked for a minute. I was like, damn. But like they showed some fight down the stretch and battled back in that game.
Absolutely. And you can't judge off one game anyways. Although honestly, they were absolutely in it until the very end.
Right.
The other thing too is they just went cold from three. Like
Right.
they just weren't hitting. And if even they were shooting a little bit better, they probably win that game.
Yeah, like the Enos kid probably had one of his worst shooting nights of his career. And he hits a couple of those, like they probably win the game. But
yeah, not much you can do.
It was brutal too. To like, I posted a picture of him on the TV and said Friar, and then people were like, "Are we sure about this?" I'm like, guys, come on, like, it's one game.
Yeah, you know what though? I will say one thing that I hope is a little different this time around is the fan base last time when Kim got hired, and especially Kim year one. Whenever someone would maybe criticize Kim, it was very like cultish, like people would attack them, like at the end of the day, we don't want it to be an echo chamber. People can disagree, we're excited about the hire. If there's someone out there that isn't, that's totally fine. Like whatever, I think most of the fan base is probably in a, let's prove it first mode anyways, even though I think they're all really excited. We still want to see some results. Just over the past 3 years, it's been really tough. So, like criticism is a good thing, but let's wait and see what happens and see how he does in the transfer portal, before saying, oh, fuck this guy. Like,
when does the portal open? Right after the national championship?
Yeah, I think it's right after that.
Yeah. So things are going to start picking up. I mean, this is probably going to be like a little bit of a lull the next 2 weeks, and then things are going to ramp right back up. Like we've talked about before, like there's a chance we just have like an entirely new roster.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could be a 2-3 week stretch where we just get a transfer every other day, I
mean, this is going to be one of the more busier off seasons we'll ever see. I mean, it was the same
100%.
thing when Kim came here. He brought a good amount of guys with him. I'm really curious to see how many guys from USF are going to follow Hodgson with him. But like you said, it's going to be just nonstop news, nonstop rumors going on. Who are we going to get? Who's this guy? Who's that guy? So I'm excited about that. And I think he's bringing his whole staff with him as well, right?
I believe that came out today, yeah.
Do we know anything about anybody on the staff?
Just real quick about that, we did hear that he's bringing his entire staff. I don't know if entire staff would be the right word because I think that we are trying to retain Gomes.
I would love that.
And possibly, I also read possibly Corey Wright and Matt Palumbo. I don't know how true that is. I felt like those were Kim hires. I don't know. But Tibaldi and Felton are definitely gone. I think we all kind of knew that was coming. So I don't know if there's going to be a room for his entire staff if we're already bringing back Gomes and trying to retain two. But I'm sure that's a conversation, obviously, that they're having. So,
yeah, I think being able to retain a guy like Gomes, and obviously, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really going to be Hodgson's decision on if he wants Gomes on the staff. I would assume he would. Like he's a guy who knows the program. He's program legend. But, obviously it's Hodgson's decision, but I think that can kind of help the segue and the transition kind of into a new area, a new program. So ideally, a guy like Gomes sticks around and, maybe we keep Oswin and him and Gomes can work together and maybe we'll see a little development on the offensive side with Oswin.
I'm loving his associate head coach's name, T. Butters.
Yeah. Shout out T. Butters.
What a name.
Shout out T. Butters.
What a name.
Shout out Ty Butters, kid.
So a little background on Butters. He was recognized as a rising name in coaching profession. He was one of 12 participants selected for the prestigious Jay Billish Coaches Leadership Program in 2022. He's a 2011 Clemson grad, comes from a strong basketball lineage as the grandson of former Duke athletic director Tom Butters, who famously hired Krzyzewski in 1980.
Wow, that's amazing. And also, he lost Tobin Anderson. So we got Mr. Ty Butters We got, Ryan Gomes, and then I don't know anyone else on his staff. So if he could bring his whole staff because he lost Tobin. So
The other guys, Jamie Quarles, Derek Rongstad, Logan Ingram. Some of the other names here.
good. I'm excited, man. If you're Steve Knapp, you're saying, here's the money. Do what you want with it. Get who you want. Hire who you want. I will not have any decisions in terms of the basketball, program at all. And I think that's how everyone wants it. Knapp is a phenomenal fundraiser. He's doing an unbelievable job. And from what I've heard, he listens to his basketball people really well. And that's all you can ask for in an athletic director.
I'm just really happy for him because we know how much he cares about this program. Like, he lives, breathes PC athletics, and he loves the basketball team, and he understands the community. And it was a really, really difficult couple of years for him because I think he felt that brunt of bringing on Kim, but it's fine. It didn't work out. We're moving on, and we're getting a good candidate. So I think everybody should be thrilled with what Knapp's done here and turn this thing around. Granted, we want to see wins. We know that, but this is a good thing. Let's be happy for once here.
Yeah, and kudos to Knapp because I think the sentiment coming into the search around the fan base was that, like, all right, well, Knapp's just going to make the safe hire. Let's bring in a guy who's been around the block for forever, knows what he's doing, make the safe hire, maybe, slap a bunt down, move the runner over, no big deal. But I think Hodgson falls into a similar category like we talked about with Josh Schertz, where it's like, yeah, his Division I head coaching experience isn't insanely deep, but the sky's the limit, and he's a guy who's proven he can win at the mid-major level. So, you kind of get the safety net of like, okay, well, we've seen him do it, but also, a high ceiling. So, and I don't think you can say the same for many guys that were available in this cycle. So, shout out to Knapp for breaking open the piggy bank and bringing one of those guys home.
You know who else I liked watching the other day was the Joseph Pinion kid, the guard.
Yeah.
He's a senior too, though, so I don't know what he's got left.
I think he just committed somewhere.
Oh, he did?
No, maybe I think I'm wrong.
So as far as kids that are available to transfer, I believe South Florida's roster has 6 players that are eligible, still have eligibility, and 2 of them didn't play more than 8 minutes. So I would say you're probably picking from a pool of 4 of Hodgson's former players. And that would be Enos Hightower. Who else?
Gavin Hightower, freshman guard. The other freshman, Caleb Sanders, but he he only averaged 7 minutes a game. I'm just looking at the roster.
Looks like CJ Brown, who played just under 27 minutes a game. He's a sophomore. And there was another one I was looking at. Adriel Niora, who averaged 11 minutes a game, played 26 games for the Bulls.
There's a lot of seniors on this team.
Very senior-heavy team.
And I think that partly plays into his decision,
right?
Knowing that he's now has to go out and replace a large portion of his team and build rapport with new players. Whereas, at South Florida, that's what you have to do to get guys to commit to you. You have to sell them. You have to say, hey, you spend a year with me, we'll get you somewhere better, we'll get you a bigger check, or, we like your style of play, we think you'd be a good fit here, we can maybe turn you into a really good player, whatever it is. You have to recruit and you have to sell. When you're at PC and you maybe have, which is a reported possibly $14 million roster commitment, you have to do a lot less selling and a lot more signing checks, right? So when you have to go out and replace that many guys, if I'm Hodgson, I'm looking at it like, what if I can't do it? What if I don't get the personnel that I need? Let me cash in now. Let me go somewhere where I know I can replace those guys. I think that plays into his logic of thinking.
I don't know about what the CJ Brown is going to do, but he's a sophomore and he was a McDonald's All-American nominee and he was the top-ranked point guard in Georgia coming out of high school. He was ESPN had him ranked as a 4-star prospect.
Okay, so another thing I wanted to bring up is, especially for someone who's been coaching mid-major, low major for the last 3 years, and we kind of brushed on it, but like he's a great recruiter. Part of the reason I feel optimistic that Jameer Jones can stick around is because Hodgson was in on Jameer early because he was right in his backyard.
Oh, wow.
Jameer Jones, and then Jameer's high school teammate, who Kim English was recruiting heavily, Jalen Reese, who committed to LSU. I believe USF was in Jalen Reese's top 5 when he was committing. So obviously has a pre-existing relationship with Bryan Hodgson. So it'd be interesting to see if maybe potentially Jameer Jones and Jalen Reese could team up. Does that bode well for us in retaining Jameer Jones? So something to look out. It feels like for what the situation at USF was, Bryan Hodgson was kind of punching above his weight class.
And the other thing too, right, to add to your point, is this guy, they don't call him the shark for no reason, which means he probably does have a lot of relationships with existing guys that will go in the transfer portal, which gives us a leg up. And I think when you combine that with him now saying, hey, like, I got this bag, because I can't you got to remember how many guys probably he reached out to when he got the USF job, and probably was still a little short of having that money. And the conversations were, well, I'd like to come play for you, coach, but you guys, I got a better offer somewhere else. There's really no player now when you have a $14 million NIL, roster commitment. There's no player where you can not get for the most part,
And I don't know what the USF basketball facilities are looking like, but you bring some of these guys over to the Rouen Development Center, and it's like, do you want to have NBA level facilities? Well, here you go. It's all at your fingertips. If you want to get better and you utilize these facilities, you will see improvement here at Providence College, and you could potentially be an NBA draft prospect. So, I mean, I think the sky is a limit for what he can do with the money and the facilities. I'm telling you, if you haven't gone over there and checked out that Rouen Development Center, get your ass over there and see if you can get a tour. It's awesome.
Well said. Well said. State of the art. And even like in the Big East, like there's a lot of schools in the Big East who can't even hold a candle to
right?
it. I mean, and it's the same playing field, same conference. So very few schools can compete with that facility. And then, like we talked about, the NIL funding.
Hey, can we talk about the schedule's not out for next year, right? I mean, we know we're going to Maui, but we don't know who we're playing non-con.
Like bits and pieces. Like we're playing
Right.
Nebraska at Mohegan.
But whoever is coming in for that first game, it could be Fairleigh Dickinson. I don't know. We might sell the place out for his first game.
I think so.
I mean, we have to go crazy for that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if this is a guy like who could easily win the press conference on Tuesday.
Oh,
he's active on social media, like kind of rally up the casual fans, put buns in seats, get people in the building. So, I mean, it's not crazy. It's a new era of hope in the program. Maybe a little shot in the shorts, get the people going a little bit. So, yeah.
Shot in the shorts.
Yeah.
A shot in the shorts. One run is in. 2 runs are in. Oh yeah, I think the fan base is going to be rejuvenated. There's going to be some people that maybe are still in that like, hey, let's win games first. But this fan base is ready to explode, and we're a younger fan base than ever before. And I think that's so important when you look at the reach and becoming a national brand. The young fan base on social media, that goes to the games, that goes to events, that is there for every step of the way. And we have a young coach who, will embrace them so well. And I think selling out the first home game for Bryan Hodgson is a very, very good goal, regardless of the opponent.
It's probably
Let's get it done.
lofty. Don't get me wrong. Selling it out for Fairleigh Dickinson, it's probably a lofty goal. But I know we could have just a really good crowd that day, and hopefully the students show up and show out like they always do. I'm just excited to see him, being on campus, interacting with the students, because when Kim did that when he first got here, that was exciting. And Kim was riding around on the golf cart and all of this, but when he gets on campus, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, no, well said. Talked about the, I guess, like sense of rejuvenation in the fan base. I had someone text me earlier today, just kind of like fired up that we got a new coach, and he's kind of been in and out on following PC basketball. PC's not massive in Bristol County where I'm from, as much as it is kind of as you get closer to Providence. So I had this kid texting me like, man, it's been tough to kind of follow the team in and out. Like the team's been bad recently. It was really tough to like really root for the team. And like he's a casual fan, so like whatever. And
Sorry.
that is an air fryer. That's an air fryer back there. Sorry about that.
What are you making?
Yeah.
No.
What's that?
I thought that was my house. I was like, what the fuck is that, dude? I was getting like freaked out.
Yeah, no, that's the air fryer out there.
Oh,
Anyway, I had some kid text me like, it's kind of just been like hard to follow the team, like hard to really get out. I haven't really been out to a game in a while. He's like, but it feels like we're back, man. And like, I'd imagine there's hundreds, if not thousands, of Friar fans who in the next coming months are going to get that same feeling. And hopefully, we hit the ground running, win a couple big games early on, and the Dunk is right back into peak form, and the fan base is back, the vibes are back, and we're off to the races.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
We sold out Kim's first game, and we played Columbia. So
there you go.
Okay.
We can easily sell out this game.
Okay.
All right, sell the Dunk. Sell it out.
Sell it out.
That's it.
It's our time. And you better be wearing your Hodgson era t-shirts.
Pick them up. Pick one up.
Pick
one
one
up for your kid.
Yeah, why not?
Just
Well
pick it
said.
up.
Well
They're
said.
great shirts.
Actually, also, I think it should be worth noting, and we have to figure out the logistics behind it. But a lot of people have asked for Divine Providence stickers, and like in the off season, it's like, oh well, it's not like we can be like, oh well, I'll just see you at the Dunk. Leb's got the Divine Providence sticker right there. Any order that we ship out will have a Divine Providence sticker with it. So,
yeah.
So if you're looking for a sticker, I know a couple people have reached out to me. I'm sure you guys as well. I'm not just gonna like drive to someone's house and like drop off a sticker, but with any purchase, there will be a sticker in the package.
Yep. You won't
Absolutely.
be disappointed with the product.
Well said.
Oh yeah, it's a great shirt. Sully's is a great brand. So, two New England institutions coming together.
And actually, if you want to learn more about Sully's, this is a shameless plug here for Section 10 and Sully's, but I did a little mini doc on the history of Sully's brand, which was powered by the Yankees Suck t-shirts. Did you know this story, Leb?
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
So the Yankees Suck t-shirts, with that money that Chris Wren was able to sell with his friends, he started a record label, and it's called Bridge 9 Records. So Sully's brand and Bridge 9 Records have been like, one of the same basically. And in the warehouse, store in Beverly, it's both a Sully store and a Bridge 9 store, and you'll see that in the piece. So there's a lot of history that goes back on how Sully started, and it all started with the Yankee Suck t-shirts back in, I think they started selling those in 99, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's where it all started.
The and the Paw Sox documentary that you did, right? That was big. What did Steve Knapp say to you when you met Father Scard? Mike gave me, he loves the Friars and he loves the paw sox.
Yeah. Verbatim. I saw Steve Knapp and Father Sicard. We were literally waiting to cross the street together to go into MSG. And Knapp was super nice and introduced me to Father Sicard. And he said, he goes, Mike loves the Friars and he loves the paw sox. I wish I had a Rhode Island accent. I love it. Paw sox.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this documentary,
that's
tomorrow night, we're going to be releasing it. Tomorrow and as in Monday on YouTube. So if you want to learn more about Sully's and Bridge 9 Records, that will come out tomorrow night if you want to watch that.
Awesome. So yeah, this is
Hell yeah.
your second big doc.
Mm-hmm. Third.
It's phenomenal. Oh, third. Sorry. Which one am I?
One Last Ride was the final day at Oakland Coliseum with Dallas Braden.
Oh, yes, the Athletics. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
The Doc Man,
which is
Mike the Doc Man.
One of the coolest days of my life, being able to go to Oakland Coliseum. It was so sick.
Yeah, no, that is dope. You guys got any closing thoughts on Coach Bryan Hodgson before we head out?
Let's turn the page. Let's get back to, as a fan base, being familiar with winning games. You know, being passionate sickos who, just bleed black and silver. It's a time to be excited, and there's a reason to be excited. So let's get fired up and let's fast forward to early November.
I'm going to quote the cult classic Happy Gilmore. The way I look at it, McGavin, we've only just begun. And that's that.
Hell yeah.
Love it. Avid, you got anything before we head out, buddy?
I'm super excited, man. I'm gonna be there Tuesday. I'm super unemployed, so I can make that. Super excited, man. I'm thrilled, and I just want to address. I'm only 22, man. I'm not old. Please stop asking people why I'm at Darty's and Olds. I'm literally in college. I'm not old as dirt yet. So please stop coming up to my friends asking why I'm there.
Yeah, he can definitely be there. He is young. We can confirm. And we got to get you there. We got to get you handing out some merch and some stickers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at this point, a lot of people know who I am at this point. So, just come up to me. I'll have stickers and stuff. So that's cool with me.
Oh, awesome!
Hell yeah! Did you give no? I'll ask you off air.
What the moonshine girl last night?
No. I was gonna ask.
He's talking about Jason Edwards.
Yeah. Did you give him any Divine Providence stickers?
No, I just texted someone about possibly coming on. They said yeah. So
word.
Wow,
that's
big,
sick.
It's news to me.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's fantastic.
That's producing right there, Avid.
That's showbiz, baby.
Yeah, it is.
Avid's a hard worker, man. We got to give Avid a lot of credit. He's nose to the grindstone. We had the celery mishap was only a minor setback.
I'm glad it happened though, because it's a hilarious story.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's a story you can tell anyone. It's not like one of those, you had to be there, or you gotta know him. You're no, it's just flat out just funny.
Celery.
And that's fun.
Celery gate.
I don't know what movie that's from, but I don't know why they just popped into my head.
This will forever be known as Celery Gate.
Yeah,
Celery Gate 2026. Hashtag Avid got the yips.
Yeah,
whatever, man.
It's all good, man. Listen, like Leb said, you can't question your work ethic when it comes to DPP stuff. I take that and you forgetting celery. Or no, forgetting the wings and just celery any day of the week.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Never any content glitch. I mean, really.
Exactly. Just wait till he's doxxed. Just wait till we dox him.
Yeah. So you heard it here first. Tuesday, 3 p.m. press conference plus Avid Mindsetter meet and greet.
Yep.
We will all be in attendance. So that's going to be really fun. Come up, say hi, whatever. It's going to be good vibes in Friartown for sure.
Hell yeah!
Can't wait.
Go Friars.
Go Friars.
Go Friars.
Get a shirt.